Well, good afternoon. This is Jim Wadhead of both All Power Group and Phoenix Animal, and today we're Power Coffee News. And what we want to talk about, let's use a little back forward there. Bottom line, as this channel, it's relatively new, but I was also a coffee roaster and really enjoyed that, and actually love coffee. So it's kind of a hobby. I love coffee almost as much as I love animals. So my first channel is Phoenix Animal, and my second channel is Power Coffee News. What you're going to see today, and I'll even read the title, but it says, The Coffee That Saved a King. Now, what's wonderful about being able to pull any information from the past, and I'm talking anywhere in the past, this goes back to the 1600s. And I did about 3 weeks ago how they even discovered coffee, and the monks found that the caffeine was wonderful, so they loved it. And they were like, wow, this is the best thing from sliced bread. But anyway, today, this is Vienna. And as you will see, it's surrounded by the Ottomans. And, the scary part, in the late 1600s, the Ottoman Empire had surrounded the city of Vienna. Everyone feared the city would fall. Because let's face it, the Ottomans are known for their fighting skills, and it's not something that you would say, come on down, I'd love to see you. So anyway, what was happening with Vienna, the supplies were low, winter was approaching, and the people were nearly out of strength. Again, being surrounded by a ferocious army, you can only hide so much or even battle so much. If you got an adversary that certainly is much better at battle than you are. But anyway, inside Vienna lived a George Franz Kolsky. I have a habit of just totally destroying names. But anyway, he lived in Vienna. He had once worked as a translator in the Middle East. He knew Turkish, Arabic, and very importantly, the smell of fresh coffee. And he was probably a worldly man of certainly a lot of good attributes, and one of them was he knew coffee. One freezing night, he came up with a daring idea, because remember, they're surrounded. And before long, the Ottomans are just going to, come in and just do whatever they do. And I don't want to even make this into a, how would you say, a very scary situation or gory situation, but I think you get the idea. I will sneak, and this was George's thought of how he could save Vienna from being destroyed. I will sneak through the enemy lines he told the generals and call for help. They will never suspect a man in Turkish clothing. So here he goes. He's saying, you know, I can save us all. I'm going to dress differently. And since I speak so many different languages, I'm in good shape. And this could very well save Vienna. The generals thought he was crazy, but they had no better plan. And I know a lot of the military and things that have gone on through history, and and I love watching some of them where they really came up with some cool way of fooling the enemy, sneaking up on the enemy, thinking the enemy, I'm going here, but instead I'm going there. So there was just a lot of good stuff. So anyway, he dressed in Turkish robes, wrapped a scarf around his face, and walked straight out of the city gates, and that's Vienna. Not running, not hiding. And they always say the most obvious sometimes goes unnoticed. So he was so bold to walk right into the enemy's camp, and he fooled them into thinking that he's one of us, and that's no problem. Just walking boldly like he belonged there. There we go. The Ottoman soldiers waved him through. So far, so good. The rouge is working. So they're saying, come on, all right, go out through. Yeah. They probably didn't ask him anything, but he would have certainly been ready to speak to them in their language. So that, again, he wouldn't create any suspicion. He crossed the enemy camp twice. I mean, it's like if you get away with it once, can you get away with it twice? And reached the Polish forces, persuading King Jan III Sobieski to attack at dawn and rescue Vienna. Now there you see he's with the the force that potentially might save Vienna. Anyway, the plan worked. Vienna was saved. So this guy is on a roll, and he's doing great. When the Ottomans fled, they left behind piles of strange-looking sacks. Most soldiers thought the bags held food or animal food, a food feed. But he knew better. He untied and one of the bags, sniffed and smiled. Coffee, he said. Wonderful. So is he on a roll. He goes through the enemy. He does it twice. He gets the other army to have it where they're gonna attack the Ottomans from the other side, from their flank, I guess you might say. And it worked, and they ended up leaving all these bags of what turned out to be coffee. And he knew coffee. So it wasn't where, what is this? What do we do with this? Wonderful, he said. Glorious coffee. So, it's like I'm 76, I'm old, but it's nice to see that one of my favorite things, I've been on many, many historical lists for people saying when they finally figured out the wonderful nature of coffee that he knew everything he needed to know. And he knew that since he found these bags, this is good. As a reward for his bravery, because remember, besides getting the coffee, he saved Vienna from destruction. So, wow. We love to see somebody that could lose real easily, win, and win. The city gifted him all the abandoned coffee and gave him permission to open Vienna's first coffee house. I mean, really, this guy's on a roll, right? And there, is a depiction of the coffee house. And, you can see that everybody's enjoying what they're doing and everything is real good. And, it's funny. And again, I know sometimes, I go on a little tangent issue, but my wife and I watch a lot of different interesting shows. Or just shows, And the most amazing thing we've noticed, I never noticed before I started drinking coffee, and that was literally only in 2018, 2017, and then I became a coffee roaster. But if you think about it and you watch, let's say, the FBI or I can go on and on and on, you will see so many people with a cup of coffee in their hand. And I never noticed it before, but it's so, how would you say, out there in front of you or me that you're saying, and I keep saying this when my wife will say, coffee, coffee, coffee. I always say that the scene that they're putting together for the show, let's say the FBI, and they have coffee, and you say, them having coffee in their hand and doing, obviously, what's going on in the show, I always say, the holding the coffee cup doesn't have it where I would say, I don't like this anymore, this particular show, because no one is holding coffee cups. But think about it. If you can remember anything from this, just say, wow, yeah, that was and is an amazing point. Because, when they're filming and they have to set up a scene, I mean, they're not, it just doesn't happen to have the person in the scenes don't necessarily just say, hey, I got a cup of coffee in my hand. They have to have, I guess, put them in as props. And maybe it's their empty cups. But bottom line, I'm saying, wow, if that doesn't personify how coffee is so ingrained in everything we do, all aspects of life. And I'm even ashamed of myself that I didn't drink coffee until later in my life when I get old, like now. Anyway, now this is also very interesting. He added something new to the drink. And again, I research all this, and it isn't where I know all this history, but obviously this is for you, but I enjoy it big time because I learned so much about everything that's gone on in history related to, in this case, coffee. Anyway, this is the drink he made. You're seeing it in front of you. He said, we put milk and a little honey, and people loved it. Many historians believe he helped create what eventually became the Viennese latte. Now, speaking of that, that's what I drink every morning. Now, I have to use sugar-free creamer, yada yada yada. But I have fresh coffee, grind the beans as I'm just about ready to put my morning cup of coffee, and that's what I have is a latte, and I even have it where it's cold. So it's kind of tastes like coffee milk, I always love coffee milk. So in a roundabout way, a brave man, a battle, and a secret coffee stash helped shape the history of European coffee culture. So, I hope you found this. It's relatively short. It's almost 17 minutes. And I hope you've enjoyed learning all about how Georges did all this, saved people, got a bunch of fresh coffee, and made a wonderful drink, and the first Viennese, coffee house. And I can't even say any more than that. So, until next time, let me know. I always like to feel if someone is enjoying or learning something from what I'm presenting. There's so many different topics related to A, animals, and B, coffee. One neat little aside is, and most of you all would know all about the tariffs and the tariffs on coffee, which, of course, is absolutely ridiculous. There are so many people that drink coffee everywhere, but in the United States, if all of a sudden, if I had to pay a lot more for my coffee, it wouldn't be like, well, I guess I can't have coffee anymore. No, we have to pay it. But the bottom line is, it just raises your costs as all the other costs have gone up. Now, from what I understand, the Trump administration they've decided to lower the tariffs on coffee and also on a couple other things, but one of them was also bananas. I'm saying to myself, oh, come on. Why would you put a tariff on bananas? Does that make any sense? Tell me if it does. I'll believe you. Anyway, I want to thank you for being here. And as usual, I enjoy doing these, and thank you so much for being here. And subscribe, and just I appreciate your attendance and viewership. Stay well, drink coffee, and try to smile. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day.